Hello, friends. Time for another heapin' helping of Savage Worlds East Texas University. The study group currently started their second semester, the spring semester of their sophomore year at this fine Institute of Learning, um, known worldwide for its special programs in archaeology and anthropology and folklore studies. Also unofficially one of the capitals of supernatural and such occurrences, strange, unexplained phenomena. Not too many UFOs, a few, but more known for just odd occurrences that seem related to the various folklore uh, from the areas nearby, or Louisiana, New Orleans, where the voodoo magics of the Caribbean trickle through Louisiana up to East Texas, and also the American Indian, the native folklore from the local tribes, and also, of course, from down south, from Mexico, trickling up your chupacabra and such other cryptoids that um, have yet to be really proven to exist. Savage Worlds is brought to us by Shane Hensley and Clint Black. Shane, if you're watching this, we've been communicating. I just submitted my first honest to God module to be published, so I'm excited to hear what the folks think about that. In fact, I just emailed Shane a little pencil drawing map, and also Clint Black. Thank you, gentlemen, for putting together this Savage Worlds. We're using the Suede Savage Worlds Adventurer Deluxe Edition, I believe it is. Pretty sure it is. And East Texas University, a genre, a setting that sits atop of Savage Worlds with little minor rule changes just for the specific setting, but it's brought to us by Preston DeBose and Ed Wetterman. Gentlemen, thank you as well. Corey, my friend, it's been a hot minute since this group has gotten together to play. It's been an even hotter minute since you and I have had any pleasant discourse. I hope you're doing well. Corey originally started this campaign about 4 years ago. Took us, with me as a player, to just the end of freshman year. And we had fun, and we got together on Discord and said, let's start it up again. Let's add another couple chapters to a book that sadly was only started. And now let's keep working towards the denouement, the final finish, the climax of this plot point campaign. This is a game as a mixture of some modules that I've written, some single page or two pager adventures available off of the PEG, Pinnacle Entertainment Group, or PEG forum, available for download, I think, through Drive-Through RPG. Duff, my friend, Prater's Rejects representative, the guy that runs it all. He is the Oz behind the curtain. Prater's Rejects, I earnestly entreat you to stop by, check out Duff's work. There are many fine offerings of fantasy role play, some aliens, kids on bikes, Strix, Haven, and of course, 5th edition, the standout. If it was a race, they'd be a lap or two ahead of the others. But whatever your appetite is, I'm sure Duff has some YouTube video or live Twitch stream or a podcast available on, say, Spotify or Google Play, Apple Play, one of the other podcasts available from his website. All my friends, Amai and others, continuing to put cute little snapshots and video clips and artwork and what have you in the Discord. Some of these I don't see until after the game. Sometimes when I change Discord feeds in the middle of a recording, it can wreak havoc on OBS. It gets confused and a little upset. So some of them I don't see until later, but I like them. Phil Cho over at DeviantArt, I continue to enjoy using some of your artwork for this site. The little tokens that I've created of various people in and about the town of Pinebox, Texas, and the East Texas University campus, which abuts just to the just to the north of Pinebox. Just good artwork, and I will point those out a little bit as we play, just as a thumbs up and a wave to Phil and his clever and very skilled art skills. I think that's it. That's it for the prelude. It's been a hot minute since we played. Summer can be hard,
Mhm.
just as it is, with holidays and vacations and events. An errant sickness here and there kept us from playing 1 week. A yard work injury kept us playing another work. Um, Summer in some areas known for its occasional electrical storms, tornadoes, and other you know,
Mhm.
climate-related affairs, knocking out internets, and of course the other imps and uh, other friends, the mephits and homunculi that tend to try to play with us while we are trying to get a game session in and keep people's cameras from working and hard drives rebooting and internet routers needing to be reset. So we hope we get a couple hours in tonight, as it has been a while, and we left on a bit of a little bit of a, I won't call it a cliffhanger. I guess it would be that one little ledge right above the cliff where you can look down and kind of see the cliff that you'll be hanging from below. Let's do a little bit of, I don't know, groundskeeping. Let me reset some bennies. Always good to have fresh bennies as, yeah,
Always need fresh
for the
bennies.
most part, the bennies were running a little bit low, although I see Shep was carefully hoarding his precious bennies. Or maybe it was the case that I was being extremely benevolent when last we played. Maybe I dumped a couple on you guys late
Maybe
in
you
the
just felt
session.
sorry.
No. There's
I
always that
mean,
chance. There's always that
we gotta
chance.
take what we can get. We're
Yeah.
just a bunch of noodle-armed nerds.
That's right. That's right. So we'll
Like, quite literally.
Helpless.
dump some bennies. I'll reshare the map. A paved outside driveway. I don't know what else. A conduit maybe that runs between these long garage units where people can rent out a 5x5 or a 5x10 or a 10x10 or larger. Some you could even park RVs in. At the I had the name wrong, so I'm going to make sure I get the name right this time. I was calling it the Lock It Up storage facility, but that error is mine. It's not called the Lock It Up. I was getting it confused with the Fork It Up pawn store.
Oh,
It's called the It's a Lock. It's a
it's a
lock with an exclamation point, probably. It's a Lock is the name of this storage facility, and I'm I never hesitate to correct myself even midstream, and I just try to set an errant skiff back on course as we drift off and try to be as true as I need to be to the plot point campaign and some of the adventures I'm running. So that way, when I say the Lock It Up, and you guys look at me and say the what, I can say, yeah, that's right. That's really the name of it. When last we played, uh, there was an errant casting of either the armor or perhaps the dark sight ritual, which caused two of our players' characters to appear significantly different. And I've updated our tokens sort of on the fly to make them
I
represent
noticed that.
their new
yes.
visage.
Oh, that's what that
Shall
was.
I
I was
say?
Yeah.
confused.
Yes.
Remember? Because
Yes.
Erica is now like,
I didn't
she's small
remember.
and Asian.
She's
Yeah.
diminutive. She's tiny. She's a little.
And
Me and Erica almost see eye to eye.
That's right.
and then Shep turned into a black Clark Kent, apparently.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And again, hats off.
I love it.
A tip and a cheerio to Phil Cho, who, well, that rhymes. I didn't mean it to, but a cheerio to Phil Cho, who has provided the artwork I got from the DeviantArt website. I don't know who these people are, but yeah, the black guy does kind of look like a black Clark Kent.
As
The
soon
artwork
as
is,
it popped up, I was like,
but I wanted to
It's the
provide.
glasses.
I had to get
yeah,
it.
it's the glasses, and I'm like, then I went and checked my strength. I'm like, nope, that didn't change.
No.
I had to give.
One can only hope.
Let's see, close. So there was one other thing. It'll occur to me when we play, and hopefully it doesn't occur to me too late. Oh, as my memory jogs, um, you probably can't smell the rubber burning over the interwebs, but if you were right next to me, you'd hear the gears turning and whatnot. When we cast the Dark Sight spell, I believe it was done in the back. Or no, Shep, you did it in your pickup truck, I believe. The
Um,
score was so phenomenally excellent.
yeah,
Um, I think, or did you do the armor spell in the
I
truck
think it was.
and the
I think it
blindness
was the
spell
armor spell in the truck and the bind because the blindness lasts longer, or
an hour? You did that maybe
the
Yeah.
darkness.
backwards. Your roll was like a success with 4 raises. And in
Right.
Savage Worlds, a raise is when you roll a given die. For example, a d8, and it comes up an 8. The dice explode in Savage World. So you just, as long as you are maxing out that die and you get an 8 on a D8 or a 4 on a D4, for example, you just keep rolling it and adding. So on a D6, you can, and sometimes we do see this happen, you could roll up in the 20s with a D6 if you just keep rolling those 6s. Just let them roll, keep adding to it, and makes combat interesting for even, a lowly, giant rat or something that could do 1 point of damage or a d4 point of damage can do, or a non-combatant, I don't know, like a fast food worker or a custodian or you know person that's going around writing out parking violations at the expired meters. Someone that's maybe not combat trained can do just a lot of damage to a stalwart opponent just by luck of the dice. It works in the other way too, as critical failures will sometimes indicate. That's always fun for the dean because you can levy certain other sort of characteristically bad things that can happen. When you're swinging the die or, I don't know, firing a handgun in close quarters. And I would probably say that the garage that is hidden behind this sort of zinc-plated garage door probably qualifies as somewhat close quarters. You are outside in
Mhm.
this. It's a lock storage facility. You are on the road. It is lit. Um, there are overhead lights to provide illumination. Um, you're looking at a, a marked E222 is the name of this, the number of this garage, the identifier. You disabled the cameras on your way in.
Mhm.
Yes.
I don't know if I don't know if you were able to open the door wider, the gate, the
Mhm.
sliding chain link gate, wider than about the 2.5 feet that it was already ajar.
No, we didn't.
Yeah,
We
that
left
I
it
was.
don't
like
think
that.
we did. We left it that way and left the truck outside. I
Yes.
Yeah.
think.
And I think you
Yeah.
were able to derive the 4-number punch code
Mhm.
that would enable the door to swing wide, as you
Yes.
remembered a note that was left in a book that you found in a basement of a recently deceased Nazi doctor, Franz
Mhm.
Heimglimmer, that had experimented upon Jews and gypsies and other like political prisoners. Uh, Part of the history that followed and ended up in pine boxes. That's where he lived his final days. And there was a book that had the owner of this It's a Lock facility and a 4-digit number circled. And that was probably the last 4 digits of his phone number that he used, the owner used, to get in here if he needed to. So you're out in the darkness. There is light, as it's really hard to totally make it light proof this seal, this sort of corrugated aluminum, zinc plated, if you can imagine a bunch of horizontal strips that almost looks like a Venetian blind that's been shut, but it's a metal garage door. Each of the plates are perhaps 3.5 inches wide or tall, and the garage door runs the entire width of this. It probably is about 15 feet wide, and the interior of this garage is probably a little bit wider. It's probably 20 feet wide. You don't know how deep. And as I was starting to say, there was a little bit of light filtering through, especially along the cracks where there's kind of a rubber seal at the bottom and along the sides that provides a little bit of resistance to weather effects, but it's not going to be completely light proof. And that light does appear to be flickering, indicating that there is, I don't know, a camp lantern, an open brazier. I'm sorry, an open brazier. And
brazier.
Yeah, or a torch.
I was like,
I had the word in my mind and I was spelling it. I'm like, I want to make sure I get
close.
I want to make sure I
was
get
like, yes.
right. But, what the heck, you get to be 58 years old and the mind doesn't work quite as sharply as perhaps it did 10, 20.
I was like, oh no, someone's burning the bras again.
Oh, that's right. Part of the feminism movement. Something like that. I would be remiss if I did not mention you were all, and I won't say compelled. You all had this strong feeling of an urging to go to this site, but you were not compelled to do so. You suffered no ill effects if you were not to approach this particular location. But each of you reached in, and at some point in time when you were waking up in a daze, trying to come to grips with this odd urging, unbeknownst to you, you slipped a pin into each of your pockets. This pin is a gold shaft, a little gold pin, probably about 1.5 to 2 inches long, and at one end is a stylized raven's head, also made of like a gold plate. It's quite pretty. Each of the pins has an eye. The raven's eye is a different kind of gem, so perhaps a small diamond, probably a diamond chip because it's quite small, an emerald, a sapphire, and a ruby, let's say. And yeah, you found that in your pocket that was given to you by one of the representatives of the Pinebox, the Association of Pinebox Business Owners, or the APBO, along with, I think it was a business card for each of you that you could show around town and maybe get a discount, or you could rely upon certain of the Pinebox business owners to support you should you have a time of need. You were given the card and the pin at the same time, but that pin you find in each of your pockets. Pull it out. Oh, okay. I believe one of you had a good idea. This might have been one of the sort of last things we did. That was Benny Worthy. Put that pin on their lapel, and I think it may have been Mir. No, Mir's not there. Shep, I think
it was me.
I think it was Shep.
Did, and then that
No, it was me.
To take advantage of their new looks.
Right. It started a conversation that they're not going to know who you are or Erica.
Mm-hmm.
A 5'10.5" tall, thin cowgirl with Farrah Fawcett blonde hairstyling, always wearing her trademark chaps. She doesn't look anything like that now. She looks Vietnamese. If you had to pick sort of one ethnicity that was your best guess.
Mm-hmm.
Small as Ava. She could wear your clothes, although she probably wouldn't. She'd have a hard time. More cosplay, Comic-Con, oh, this is a cute little jumper. When I was in middle school, she'd keep moving by. But Erica the cowgirl, looks quite different. But each of you has those pins. Should you wish to, I don't know, put it. And what happens is the pin, the side of it, the shaft that does not have the little raven's head, has a little fob that you can unscrew, and it reveals a point such that you could gently pierce a piece of cloth if you wished, or similarly affix it through a lapel hole or
Okay.
a button
Yeah, like a
hole
tie tack
or
or
something
lapel
like
pin.
that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Erica.
Yeah. I do remember discussing that before because
Erica
we were
puts
like,
it
we don't
on,
know what's up with this.
and it's weird hearing Erica's her accent, her strong Texas affectation coming from someone that it doesn't look like it should come from. It's just the timbre of her voice is different. It's a little bit reedy and higher pitched, but the words are the same and the phrases are the same. And if it wasn't such an odd location here, it might even be a little bit funny. I think
And
y'all had probably a shot or two of liquid courage in the truck
yeah,
on your way out.
Yeah, I
Shep,
forgot about that.
Shep, I think you even had a little bit of a sip.
yeah. I also remember having Tante look on the other side of the door at one point.
Okay. What do
It
you
was either
recall her
that or
seeing?
because that's why I'm trying to remember if we did that or if Shep had another premonition.
Or one of you guys moved over the map and clicked open the door and took a quick peek in when I wasn't looking.
No,
Oh
no,
no.
because I just remember we
No,
had
they would
something.
never do that.
We were. It was something about because it was like a quick description, and that we knew basically there were people in there performing a ritual.
Well, you knew they were because you heard it.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
You
she like went in and looked and saw a couple of things. I just can't remember off the top of my head what they were. But it was more. That's when we decided. Well, we might not know. They might not understand if they see. That's what prompted the discussion of Shep and Erica not looking like we're supposed to.
Mhm. Yeah, I remember
And
that conversation coming
Yeah.
from the possibility of putting the pin on, as we are
Mhm.
supposed to be, I don't know, ritualistically influenced to be there. There was a calling to be there, and it would make sense since you grabbed the pin, even though you didn't know that you did. It was probably your first sort of waking. You swung your feet off of the bed, your feet onto the floor, even before you stood up. You probably reached into whatever little jewelry box, or perhaps Shep, you might have like a little glass bowl that you might keep, your car keys, or um, maybe a key that
that's
you
what
used
Shep finds funny
with
because
one of a
his would
watch.
have been stuffed up underneath something inside the truck somewhere.
Your pin, okay, then yeah, you're probably like, oh yeah, the pin's there. You don't recall.
There's a little pin that's calling to
Yeah,
you from your truck.
I mean,
It's good.
as I
Well, I mean, I'm
described,
just saying it's just funny.
they're
That's
attractive.
fun.
They're attractive little pieces of jewelry. They're rather nice, a little bit stylistic. But
I don't
I
remember
won't say that Tante
the.
wasn't here. Could have been. I just don't recall it. Like I said, it's been ah
It's been a while.
has it been
I
5 weeks,
think it's been about a
6
month.
weeks?
Yeah, I want to say about a month at the very least.
Yeah,
A while, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, whatever you remember, we'll go with. And like I say, you did hear ritualistic chanting, and you were able to make out most of the words, including, I don't know, a few words that made sense, like Heimglimmer, who was the deceased Nazi doctor, the uh, poisonous individual. You also remembered something like, we have brought the fetishes, something like that, and that ties into that Probably an image that you had, Shep, with your
Yeah.
like sort of preternatural visions that you occasionally experience. And no,
I remember the vision.
you do not see any small bat-winged, bat-eared, cyclopsian or cyclopsian, maybe, one-eye beings flittering around up on the roof of this. You do not see or hear or sense that, I mean, call it what you will, that thing doesn't seem to be present right now. The garage door seems to be very easily raised and lowered. Okay, I mean, I have rented storage garages in my time, so I'll just work from memory. Rather than it being a chain that you physically pull up and down, we'll say there is a flat plate, a flange of some type that extrudes from the base of this garage door that you can raise and lower. It's attached to the bottom part, right near the rubber seal that sort of would keep water from like leaking in if there was some rain or some puddling outside. So there's this flat plate on one side that extrudes. It's got a hole drilled into it, and into that hole there is perhaps a 2-foot long piece of worn like clothesline, heavier than twine, heavier than string, probably not strong as like nylon climbing rope, but some sort of rope has been tied to it. So you bend down, you grab the end of this rope, and then you pull it up, and that will raise. And there's just enough of it hanging down when it's fully open that you could reach up, grab it, and pull it down to shut the garage door and affix a lock to it so that when you're done doing whatever you need to do, grabbing tools or a bicycle or a pump or something, some athletic equipment out of your storage unit, you can secure it. And there is also an area on the right, about halfway high, so about 4.5 feet up off the pavement, where there is like a sliding bolt, like a deadbolt that has a lock, kind of just hanging open. This lock will not. The garage door is not locked, but should you choose to lock it, you could. From the outside, there is a stout Schlade padlock that's kind of just hanging as if whoever got here before you opened the padlock, hung it in the hole, but didn't engage the deadbolt sort of sliding lock before they did so. And they couldn't, because then they couldn't get into it. So what I'm saying is you could easily, you think, reach down and open up this garage door, as there is a mechanism to pull it open, and it doesn't seem to be locked, and it appears that there's light inside.
Right. So the idea that we had for Erica and Chip, I think that could work. But then what are you and me gonna do, Sophia? You're quiet. I can't hear you.
Oh, wait, you can't hear me?
There
Yes.
you are.
Okay, I'm audible. Great, wonderful.
Call an audible.
Yes. So yeah, because if they go in there and they do the covert thing, what are we gonna do out here?
I'm trying to remember. I'm thinking, wasn't it a bad idea to send them in? Because they're not recognizable?
Right.
Oh.
So shouldn't it be us
what?
going in?
You know what's going to happen?
So it should be the role reversal.
Just because of this
Yeah.
of this idea. Ava gets a Benny, Shep gets a Benny. Sophia gets a Benny, although she's going to need to start a second stack of chips as her bennies runneth over. But just the
Sophia's
idea,
got bennies for days.
Yeah, they're shareable.
just because you guys remembered so vividly some of the stuff that happened, and the idea of affixing the pin, and also the idea that Erica and Shep are not recognizable. Thus, if they walk in, even with the pins, whoever's inside, assuming they're responsible for the summoning, the calling, they're not going to know who they are, and you could use that to your advantage. I mean, it's up to us, right? It's up to you. But the subterfuge may work better if the two that have not had their appearance altered, shall we say,
True.
do this. But I think there are strengths in either approach.
I think that you have a point, Sophia, that they did give these out to us purposefully that day. And so if they see two people who are like, wait a second, I don't remember you.
It might look weird.
That might look weird. I mean, if we want for Erica and Shep, like maybe you guys could keep a lookout here, maybe, and see what's up. But me and Sophia could maybe do the spy thing inside. I don't know if they would be into you guys being in there.
Shep's just going to go. He's going to remind Ava and Sophia about his premonition.
Yes.
Weeks ago now.
I remember that.
Yeah, because that's the one that's inside of it is the one inside a storage room where somebody dies.
Oh, not the one of Glenn Mack wearing a Speedo.
No.
Nightmares. Okay. We know the future. Now we can change it.
Because the reason he brings it up again is because he's
ain't no one gonna kill me.
I thought originally it was the lady from the house, but apparently, and I point over to Erica, apparently not.
It might be her.
Because, the dark lady shooting a gun, dark-haired lady shooting a gun, still matches.
You have a point. All the more reason why you guys should probably stay outside.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, though, from what I remember, we had split our focus.
This little Vietnamese girl says, and you're still surprised that the words come out. Y'all think that you two little girly girls are going to go in there, and I'm going to just stand out here leaning up against the garage door where all the fun's in there? You don't know me.
Well, we need to find out.
I might not look
I know you very well.
Look, okay.
After everything we've been through.
We have to figure out more information.
I mean, obviously, these people don't mean us well.
I would think so. If there's weird ritual stuff going on, and they're saying Heimglimmer, and we dealt with that before, and that was not a good time. I'm not expecting a good time.
The other thing is, I remember you particularly, Ava, while everybody else was getting beat up because things didn't work against whatever it was. You were trying to break or topple over some sort of urn or something.
I think they're called Coptic urns.
Yeah.
Sort of like in the museum display of King, Tutankhamun, however you pronounce the mummies, ceremonial vestments that he was buried in. There are these urns that are ceramic, and they're they either got metal bands around them, or they've been painted with a bright metallic paint to put circles around them to give them form. And each one, one can have, and I think the heads some of them may represent the heads of some of the Egyptian gods. So one, you grab the head of a raven, you pop open the urn. The other might be like similar to the head of the mummies, the mask that they put on, the ceremonial, with sort of like the long gold beard-like thing that's made of, it's got like lines in it, almost like a ladder. What are some of the other? There are a couple of other animals.
Yeah. Because I'm
Head
thinking
of a
if we
jackal,
go
I bet's one of them.
in force and somebody that has a gun, and I look over the
Got
She's
you
got
covered,
it.
got you covered, sweetheart. And let me
shoot
just say,
and breaks
while
that thing.
the map shows that you're all there, I imagine you are down around a corner, speaking in hushed
Yes.
voices. You're probably not having a loud conversation here. This is just to sort of
Yes.
set the stage.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, Ms. Shep. I didn't mean to cut you off.
But because I'm thinking if we break that right away, that seemed to be a focus.
Mm. If so, we can
So,
each focus on different things. Like,
yes.
so I can still try and break some of these urns if they are indeed in there. Maybe it can stop whatever ritual that they're doing. And I mean, Erica is really good at beating stuff up. So
And shooting them.
I leave that to the expert.
She spits. She like spits between like a little gap between her front teeth. With accuracy too.
If we come across any superstitious stuff, I still have salt bombs and I still have iron sling bullets.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I took
iron
one of those
bullets
from you.
Oh, and the gun, the water guns.
Mhm.
And that those iron bullets, they were really good against that summoned Strehlbricken. It's a German
Oh
name.
Lord,
Strehlbricken demon. Boy, that thing rocked his world.
Haagen-Dazs.
I think he was a beefy boy, and you laid him low with one significantly
oh my gosh,
one significantly well placed bullet.
That was great. Yes.
But
Oh
anyway,
my gosh.
I'm thinking you two maybe open it up and then all of us rush in.
Okay. Do you want to be on the sidelines just in case, like, I don't know, we've been here for a minute and I don't know if they know that we're here.
I'm looking down at my hands going, well, Erica over there may have guns, but
Erica says something very un-PC.
Yeah.
As she says, "Well, darling, you could hide pretty well, except just don't try not to smile so much. Those teeth are beautiful, honey."
mm-hmm.
We have
You got some rice in your teeth.
Oh my gosh.
Touche, sweetheart.
We have okay, so if we are ready to just go kind of straight in, like kind of charge, since we know that we feel like this is not a great place.
Yeah.
Let's make sure, I guess, that we're armed accordingly. So
Okay.
I have my super soaker and my little slingshots, and I have salt bombs. So I don't know if you guys wanted to shake in my salt bombs just in case.
I have the salt bombs you gave me last time still.
Hey, Shep,
Yeah?
do you want a salt bomb?
Sure.
I got my
share a
lead
salt
bomb,
bomb.
darling.
And I know I have at least one sling bullet or whatever of the cast iron from a few days ago.
I got the cool knives.
That's
That's
right.
true. You have your silver knives.
Inigo Montoya's silver plating shop. 3 of them.
So
They ran
digging in my bag, passing out my stuff. Like, here's a salt bomb for you.
Like
here's
it's
a salt bomb
Christmas.
for you.
Oh, here's a present
Do
for Shep.
you need some iron sling bullets? Because I have 23 of them.
Sophia's
According
been a very
to what
good
I have
girl.
here.
Got a present for her.
Okay, well, I can take, if you have 23, I can take probably
Want to
8.
split? Okay.
That way
I'll
you'll have
give
15.
8.
And that would put me up to 9.
Okay. So my combat, I'll put 15. There we go.
Everybody give me a smarts roll.
Yeah.
Sure thing.
Just for, reasons.
Where did my smarts go? There we go.
The bubblegum pink.
Ooh.
I forgot I was so tired.
Oh, that's right. You
Yeah.
are fatigued. I forgot about that too.
How petite? What did I miss? Am I misremembering something? You've got a point of fatigue, Sophia. Remind me where that came from. Did you get scraped coming in?
There was some kind of injury at some point somewhere. I don't remember the exact circumstances.
I think it was on our way, not on our way here, but it might have had something to do with like maybe the gate and stuff when we came in.
Was there like some kind of confrontation outside the house before we got here?
No, but
Or that's something
there
else.
was the
Oh man.
bat thing.
There's the bat thing.
The bats.
The
Okay.
the demon
The
stuff.
bat thing. Yes, that.
He may have.
I believe it came from there.
A little silly.
I'm going to invoke a sort of DM or Dean fiat and remove that point of fatigue.
I'll take it.
Since I could probably remember what it was if we put our heads together and really thought about it. Yeah, it was probably during the demon battle. But
the bookstore may have done it.
You had some sleep. You're rested.
4 weeks of rest.
Aside from the sheer joy of having the players roll at -1 or -2, I can't really defend letting that persist from game session to game session. So we'll just like Surf Pro, the people that clean floods, like it never even happened. So let's see. I was looking for a smarts roll, a success with a raise. I believe that the 9 and the 11 certainly exceed the target number of 4 by a multiple of 4, a single multiple of 4. So, sure, Ava and Shep.
Mm-hmm.
You think instead of rushing in there, an alternative would be just consider this. Someone cast a ritual at the group of you. They probably used the little raven pin as a focus, perhaps some sort of I don't know. Yeah, hard
like
to say.
A charm almost.
Yeah, like an amplification or a targeting device of some type. So someone wanted you to come here, and it was probably just sheer luck and the dean's dismay that all of you made your spirit roll. But you think that it is likely that there is a reasonable chance that maybe 2 of you should have been affected by this. And you could think that probably the 2 that are recognizable, wearing the pins, as it just felt right to put them on, showing up, opening the garage door, and entering, probably will not be that much of a surprise to the ones inside.
Yeah.
It's probably, rituals are fickle. And, there's a chance that you are being summoned here for a reason, and the ones that are recognizable will present no surprise on their part. The fact that door was left open, the sliding chain link fence gate that opens and closes with a chain like gear up top on a like a cog, and those 2 sort of rubber, kind of like the wheels that you'd see on a wheelbarrow, open and shut that gate. That door was open. That gate was open. It didn't have to be. It could have been closed by the people inside there now.
Yeah, I think the first time we came through here, because it's not the first time we've been here.
I
The
don't think
first
you've
time we
ever
came
been
through,
in
I think
here
everything
before.
was locked. Not inside, but outside.
Yeah,
I remember that map. And I was like, everything was locked. I remember the first time we came to this place.
yeah. I'm thinking back as it has been some time since the adventure in the basement and the house of Franz
Yeah.
Heimglimmer. I want to say that the question that I would pose to you is, why did you come here the first time and just sort of go around the perimeter fence and give it a look? And I think the answer is because the name Sebastian Young was in Heimglimmer's journal, and you recognized him as being the owner slash proprietor of this unit storage facility.
That was part of it. The other part was the vision.
Yeah,
we did
Right.
determine that it was.
Yes, that's also true. There were two.
Because we had the book, but then when the cops came after we were chased after the stuff that happened in the basement of the house, and they chased us back to the house, our house. The cops came, and then when we did all of that stuff, we never got our books back.
True.
They kept them. So for evidence, I'm assuming so.
Mm-hmm.
So we never got them back. But I do remember coming here, yes, before, but it was definitely all locked. But there was something in the book that also led us to believe, hey, there's something weird going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And then Shep's vision kind of enforced it.
Yeah, the two sort of just like knit neatly
Yeah.
together. And there were, in fact, two facilities. There's another facility, similar
Mhm.
to this lock. It's a lock. I keep wanting to say lock it up, but it's a lock facility. And once you've been to one of these, you've pretty much been to all of them, right? I mean,
Mhm.
they're
They
long.
all have the same layout.
The roads are the driveways are that form that sort of conduit between the units where the garages are. It's wide enough to get a substantially sized U-Haul. It can cut the corners, and generally some security measures around the outside, and
Yeah.
the little punch code to make the
Yeah,
door
that's
open
the
up.
thing that Ava hacked into.
You also hacked the cameras. There were two cameras that were attenuated
sure
towards
did.
the entrance. You sort of made them sort of point up
It's like,
a little
"Eh."
bit. You changed the angle of inclination. That you
Yeah.
thought that when you sort of got low and sort of crept in, two of you not having to really crouch at all, the other two having to crouch a bit, you think you were just
Right.
below the field of vision of these robot eyes, these security cameras. So I only offer that because of the smarts roll with a raise, and it just occurs to you that there are a couple of ways that you can play this, and there's really
Okay.
no wrong answer. I mean, these are all good plans.
Then, well, I'll consider that since Ava's smarts is like her highest attribute, I think that she would want to go the more covert and cautious way. Considering previous experiences. And yeah, I'll go over to Sophia and be like, hey, we can go in here, or maybe one of us or both of us, and we can play it up and maybe have like a signal for Shep and Erica to come in if something is going really wrong.
I say both of us, so no one goes anywhere alone, because that sounds like a bad thing.
I prefer the buddy system.
Yeah.
Rats.
Yeah.
Cool. So Shep and Erica, like, what if we have like an audible signal to let you know that this is like danger, like immediate danger. What do you think?
Screams.
Screams.
Little scream.
I think
Just
that's
get an air horn.
darling. I think what you've hit on is kind of the universal sign.
Yeah, it's the universal sign of danger, distress, and please God, please help me.
Now you mean actual high pitched girly screams and not the word screams.
I could do that. High pitched girly scream. Yes.
I mean, I
Okay.
ain't the
I
sharpest.
could scream the word scream. Whichever you prefer.
Well, I ain't the sharpest tool in the lock it up in the interlock garage, but you know,
Maybe.
I consider shooting out one of the lights and making some shadows, but that might make way too much noise.
Yes, I was also thinking, like, perhaps, maybe turning off the lights could be a good indicator so that we don't draw attention to ourselves.
And only peripherally related, I do like to play around with this Fantasy Grounds Unity tool that I'm using for controlling combat tracking and images. You can see that light where the two overhead fluorescent outdoor lights kind of overlap a little bit. It's got like this little, it's just an ever so slight strobe effect, which I think is just it's hecka cool. It's kind of just north of where the characters
I
are.
love it. Yeah, it's really cool. But yeah, so Shep and Erica, we can, like, me and Sophia can go in. We'll signal for immediate danger. That is not particularly high-pitched screaming, but that's also secondary alarm. Just in case,
Screams.
But
got it, darling.
we can turn off the lights from within the ritual room.
I sure
Because the
hope
lights are on, right?
there are lights emanating from inside the unit E222.
Okay. Sounds good.
Darling, I sure hope your friend that leprechaun ain't in there.
Not the leprechaun.
Shep
God.
just looks at Ava, walks up to her, bends down, kind of picks her up a little bit, gives her a kiss.
Okay.
And
How cute.
then sets her back down and goes, this does not feel right to do it this way, but if that's what you want, we will try it. But if I even so much as get a vision that something's up, we're going in guns a-blazing.
That's fair, because I know that the vision here was already very disturbing. But we're hoping for the best. I've already died once.
So like it can get any worse?
I don't know how much worse it gets than getting your throat ripped out by a dog.
Yeah.
To be fair, Sophia was the one who died second.
I'm gonna hope that she doesn't die.
Ava was the last one standing.
But this the future is fluid. It's always changing, and what your visions represent are a snapshot or a very limited. I don't want to call not a TikTok video, but like the YouTube shorts that are about 30 seconds or 40 seconds, and the details can be hazy because things change. It just represents one of many possible outcomes.
It's just a snapshot out of the multiverse.
Right. I mean,
we never know.
If you guys all decide to leave Pinebox and roll somewhere else, this none of this might even happen. I'm trying to think of what the word is in chaos theory, where you have like a bunch of different outcomes. I think it starts with an S. I'll remember it probably when I'm trying to sleep tonight.
Right, when you're just like in the middle of the night.
Stochastic, stochastic, stochastic.
We make our own future.
Stochastic, yeah, just how
we make our own future.
Randomness and all the outcomes if you plot them linearly, just become just infinitely wide.
I write my own destiny.
Yeah, stochastic processing, chaos theory.
Right.
All right.
We're gonna have our pins on the lapels of whatever we're wearing.
Sure.
Very calm, collected.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, Sophia, we get to open this door. We have our signals. We have our bags.
This is fine. This is going to be fine.
This is fine. Can you open this, please? This door is probably going to take me with it to the top of this.
I'll reach out and open the door.
Swinging by one arm. And the way that these operate is you use the little bit of momentum that you garner from lifting it up halfway, that once you get it rolling, it doesn't take much strength to sort of not whip it, but as you continue to raise it, it rises those last
one of those.
the last 18
yeah,
inches
it's like
or
on a
so
rail,
on
right?
its own. Yeah. There is a chain probably on the inside and two
It's
gears.
like those U-Haul trucks.
Yeah. There you go. And the rope is like at ground level right now. But I mean, you can pick it up. It's 2 feet long. And it's probably got
cool.
it's either frayed
Let's
at one end or has like a knot that's been tied at the end where you
cool. Then I'm gonna try and feel strong for once and do it myself. It's like
no roll required.
Let it do its thing.
It's it takes I won't say it takes a little bit of muscle, but it's a little heavy. It takes a little bit to get it going. That the first 4 to 6 inches that you lift, you're glad you didn't put your all into it. You probably would have hurt your back, right? You just give it a nice smooth, steady pull, and it rises up. Squeals a little bit
inside.
Sophia, you see firelight as if there's a campfire or fires reflecting against the smooth pavement, both in and outside as you look.
Oh, we can click it now.
Now you can click
it.
Now you
can
click it.
Whoops, I'm sorry.
Ooh. People with hoods. I guess I'll put my hoodie up. Blend in with the crowd.
I don't have a hood.
I'm sorry.
I didn't dress for the occasion.
Shep doesn't have that many hoodies.
She's wearing her footy pajamas, probably.
The one of the onesies. I'd love that.
I'd like both of you to type a -2. Type a -2 into that little parchment box at the lower left side of the corner of the interface and make a smarts roll that is effectively at -2.
Here we go. I got a 6.
On, where am I again?
One success, one failure. Sophia, the way that Shep has described to you the vision that he had, this all seems, pretty copacetic. It corresponds in form and faction to the image that he painted in your imagination. It's a storage facility. There's like Egyptian artwork on the walls. Kind of reminds you of the basement in the man's house. Very. It looks like if you pulled some of the mosaic sort of tiles out of an old Egyptian tomb, a pharaoh's pyramid, if you will, and you had a piece of like slate with little hieroglyphics carved into it. This is the sort of thing, that sort of artwork. And it seems to be, pretty much what he described. There are some statues along the left-hand side. There are a couple of cultists, but you don't see that desiccated man in here, which you kind of thought that you would, but maybe not, since it's probably Frank Mann's and he hasn't Heimglimmer. Frank Mann's was his sort of Americanized pseudonym, his AKA, but Franz Heimglimmer is how he lived the first 92 of his earthly years. No, that's not right. He died at 92. He's probably in the country, probably 20 years before that, because there were several photographs of him in and around Texas, fly fishing in Florida, doing that sort of things. Yeah, there's no undead looking thing in here, but yeah, it looks pretty much kind of how you expect it. On the other hand, with a success Ava, you reason
Mhm.
that this unit is what 20 by 35. It's significantly smaller than the unit that Shep described to you. It does not
Mhm.
smell of that loamy, earthen smell that he described very vividly. I
Mm.
think Shep would have said it reminded him of when he was went to the greenhouse or the what's it where they sell like potting soil, like not the hardware store, but the area where
Oh, okay.
what's it called? The potential spam. Thank you. Um, Probably my car.
Calling about your
My
car's
car.
warranty.
So Shep likened
Damn
it
it.
to when he bought a couple of bags of potting soil and a couple bags of mulch to do some outside work.
Okay.
That's kind of
So it
that
doesn't
rich earthy smell, that just a little bit of moisture, maybe from where the rain had rained on these bags as they were sitting on a skid on a pallet, and they had like little holes in them, and a little bit of water drifted in, just to make it a little bit
yeah.
moist. Not a bad smell by a long shot. Very very nice earthy smell.
It's like that
Doesn't
like
smell like that in here at
wet
all.
dirt after a rain scent. It's like
Oh,
nice,
No.
earthy. Okay, so it doesn't have 100% all of the details from his vision,
It
but
does
just some of
not.
them.
However, oh, a good place to put
Because we
this.
recognize the urns and kind of the whole uh aesthetic of it.
There are, I have to be careful, there are braziers, 4 of them, one on either of the narrow ends of an altar, which is all the way against like sort of the back wall. There are 2
Oh,
other
I see.
braziers. Together, the 4 provide illumination, low flames, and orange hot coals. And kind of back in that corner, and I apologize, my dice are yellow. So the line I'm
Oh, I
drawing
see.
is yellow. It's on kind of the yellow fireside. I can't
So
remember.
one corner.
It's like once you draw the arrow, it's like I'd like to sort of rotate it around. I think you can change the arrow head. Yeah, you can change the arrow head,
Yeah.
but you can't change like the back. But I'll point back in that corner. You do see
Uh-huh.
one of those Coptic urns, and we'll say it has the head of some sort of a bird of prey, perhaps a falcon, perhaps a hawk,
Uh-huh.
something like that. That's it's
Is it
probably about 2 feet.
Horus?
It's about 2 feet tall. Horus, probably. Yeah,
Probably.
that's
I
who I.
forget, but yes.
That's kind of who I thought.
I think so. I'm not super sure, but yeah.
It's
So
back
there's
there.
one in that corner.
It's sitting on the
Is there
ground.
another one in the other corner?
You don't see one, although there is a ritualist, a
Mm.
cultist, in 4 of them, as a matter of fact. But there is one who's wearing essentially the equivalent of kind of like a hoop skirt. It's kind of
Mhm.
flares at the bottom and makes seeing that back corner a little bit hard. But there's light back there, and as you just walked
Mm.
in, he's probably facing the altar, and he hasn't turned to face you, which would mean like his entire or her entire width would
Yeah.
cover the corner.
Okay.
You think there's just one Coptic urn in here, and it's in the northwestern corner. You think.
Okay. What are those little things at the northern end?
They
Like
look like
a
they are manacles or handcuffs,
oh
pairs of
no.
them that have been affixed to the interior wall
Oh boy.
of this storage unit. It's drywalled, unpainted,
Uh,
so it's the color of drywall, but there is some of that white, um, putty, that drywall mud to fill in the seams. Sanded, probably taped and sanded, so the intent was to paint it at some point in time, but they're evenly spaced. And
into the south of us.
the those are porcelain
Like statues.
animal statues.
Okay.
It's been a hot minute since I
Yeah, I know,
made those
right?
yeah. What would they be? I think they would. The things would look like hyenas, probably,
Mm,
and the things that are kind of rectangular and at an angle, if you zoom in, they probably look like stylized sphinxes sitting with their two paws stretched out. You can almost make out the area that's a little darker between their paws.
oh, okay, yeah. Yeah.
These occur to you, they look like cheap knockoffs. They look like things that you would buy if you drove by, again, a nursery. That's the word that I was trying to think, where you would buy potting soil and mulch and stuff like that. If you've ever driven by a nursery where they have like flamingos and garden gnomes arrayed
Mm,
out front that are kind of made, some of cement, some are probably some sort of porous, not ceramic so much, but like what's the stuff that like paper mache is like crafted from, and you'd uh, maybe spray
oh,
paint or
right.
coat it with some sort of waterproof seal. It looks cheap to you.
Okay.
These look. Yeah, you'd really be surprised if these were brought from Egypt, from a pyramid. They look
Yeah.
more decorative.
They're like souvenirs.
Yeah, yeah, something you buy.
Kinda a little better than a souvenir.
Yeah, you drive by, like the highway between two small towns, and there's a nursery that services both of them. Where you could buy like potted
Uh,
plants and stuff. They might have similar
okay.
things like this that you could put in your yard. Um, the pose of the Sphinx very similar to the pose, sort of the lions that are out in front of the library. Not the one on
Huh?
campus, but the one in town. If they were lions, it would look like that. But they're definitely sphinxes. Yeah.
Okay. It's very Egyptian vibe in
Very
here.
from the carvings that are sort of like big pieces of flat slate, kind of leaned up against the wall. Some of them
Okay.
even cracked so that maybe a corner is missing, with these engravings in them. And the four individuals, their cowls over their eyes, um, face you. They turn to face you, and three of them make no real gestures or gesticulations your way. But the one that's behind the altar
Uh-huh.
lifts up a hand that is covered by this like, very long flowing sleeve, and gestures at the wall with the manacles. And now that you have opened the door, there must be like a tape player somewhere, because you hear a dum da da dum da da dum da da dum,
Oh no.
sort of like the drone, as if you're listening to a recording of drums. And this is very much like, there was a moment in Frank Manz's house where you accidentally hit the play button on his like CDs haven't been invented yet. I don't imagine. These are probably 8-track tapes, or what did he have?
In the
Albums.
mid
Yeah,
90s? Oh no, for him? Yeah.
yeah.
Probably an 8-track.
He had a lot of, especially the German composers, a lot of their works. And one of you went to like turn out the power on the power strip, and accidentally turned on, and you heard this deafening dum da da dum da da dum, similar kind of a droning, rhythmic, ritualistic sounding
Oh boy.
background music. You hear that, so you imagine maybe up behind the altar there's an 8-track tape player, but it is the 90s. Yeah, probably a cassette player, a small one, just playing some mood.
Got a little boombox behind the
Yeah,
ritual.
just
You
Mood
know,
music.
and
these cultists trying their best. I can appreciate.
and what else? Yeah, there is a
Like,
light switch, but the light switch, Ava, is immediately to your right. It is off, and
mm,
you look up, and there is a single light bulb sort of coming out of the ceiling, and a single light fixture, and it looks like there is an electrical outlet way up in the
mm,
ceiling as part of this sort of porcelain uh, affectation that has it's got a place where you could screw the light bulb in, but on the side there's also a place where you could plug in like a utility cord, if you were, I don't know,
okay.
working on a car, or if you needed like extra light or something like that. But yeah, couple 4 braziers, 4 cultists, an array of statues, some bric-a-brac.
Yeah.
They look like they'd shatter readily if you were to like pick one up and it's hollow, assumably. Especially the dogs, like the sphinxes, might be formed cement, but the sort of hyena-looking things look kind of light.
Are these braziers like very large?
No, not they're about as big as a bird bath, I'd imagine.
Okay.
They're probably 18 inches to 2 feet, probably in diameter, sitting low on the
Okay.
ground on 3 very short, stubby legs. They're metal.
Okay.
Looks like
Good
they've
to
seen
know.
some use. They're not polished to a high sheen, is what I'm trying to relate.
Mm.
And as we've been playing,
So,
we've been playing for an hour, and I'd like to break this game up and
oh
let everybody
yeah.
have the opportunity to get up. I'm going to let you all just think about what you want to do and take a quick break, refresh our drinks, get up, stretch our legs, maybe grab a snack, and I will
Yes.
stop recording and we'll come back for hour number 2. That first hour and 12 minutes was a pretty fast one.
Hmm